A Polynesian girl, destined to be her island's chief, makes a perilous trip with a boastful demigod to undo his mistake and save her people.
Hi, my name is Andre.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Luis.
And we're the Walt Vault podcast, our podcast about Disney movies. Hey everybody, welcome to the Walt Vault. This is episode 2.
We're back.
We did it.
Woo.
We put out a whole episode, and now we're doing a second one. A week later. It's amazing.
I'm still here.
We brought Luis back. We convinced him once again to be a host of this podcast. It's pretty incredible. Today, we're talking about the movie Moana. But first, I realized that last episode, we didn't really talk too much about ourselves or how we got this podcast started or any of that stuff. So you guys just listen to a bunch of strangers talk about a Disney movie. And I feel like we should introduce ourselves a little bit more this time. Anybody want to start? That's not me.
Well, let's talk about Marvel because Thor Ragnarok just came out. I thought we were going to... Never mind.
Yeah, we can talk about Thor.
Okay, cut
For a
this part
second.
out. Okay.
No, keep going.
Well, why did you make that face?
Because I coughed directly into the microphone just now, and
Oh.
I very easily
Emily
could have
shook her head like,
pulled
no,
it away
don't
from
talk
my
about
face.
that. And I was like, I thought that was the plan.
No, I coughed
You're doing
directly.
great, Michelle. Keep going. Talk
Anyways.
about Thor.
We can cut all that out.
No, we're not.
Thor Ragnarok just came out, and it reminded...
Keep going. No. Turn your mic on.
Thor Ragnarok
Mhm.
just came out,
It
and it
did.
reminded me about how probably a year and a half ago now, we had this idea that we were going to watch every single Marvel movie, starting from Iron Man, because we didn't watch The Incredible Hulk for some reason. Starting from Iron Man until the Doctor Strange movie came out, which we successfully did.
Right. We watched all the Marvel movies together, and it wasn't for a podcast or anything. We just wanted to get together and talk
And
about
FYI,
them.
we watched them in order.
That's
so
right.
We
Yes.
watched them starting with Iron Man all the way through Doctor Strange when it came out in theaters. And I'm just going to say it's a feat. It's
a lot of movies.
a lot of movies, and
watched
some
like
of them
15
are
or something like that.
freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
And some
Some are not. Like the second Thor
Not.
movie, we didn't need that.
Iron Man 2 wasn't great.
Iron Man 3 was really good, though.
I liked Iron Man 3 like a lot more
True.
than I
But Thor
even
2,
remember.
yeah.
So we kind of wanted to refresh our brains before Doctor Strange came out and review all of the Infinity Stone goodness, which Luis is kind of a pro at that now. Knowledge about the Infinity Stones. Wouldn't you agree?
You did a lot of research and stuff like that.
Yes, I did do a lot of research with the Infinity Stones.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think me and Michelle have this debate about what the final stone will be. I truly believe Heimdall is the key to the final stone.
It's an interesting theory from a person who has not seen Thor Ragnarok.
Yes, Andre and I have. So I guess you guys will maybe have a different theory once that comes out. But anyways,
But
so
I'm very stubborn, so I don't think my theory will
Oh.
really shift.
True. So we watched all these movies, and then last October we were driving to Disneyland together to go to the Mickey's Halloween party. And I was just in the back seat and was like, you guys, we're already watching all of these movies together. So once we're done with the Marvel ones, why don't we just keep it up and just make a podcast about us watching Disney movies because we're pretty funny people.
We are pretty funny people.
I'm just going to interject here that we laugh. Actually, last week I talked about how we give pity laughs to things. We all pity laugh at each other, and we were like, dude, actually, we're funnier than we think we are. Maybe other people will laugh at us, too.
Maybe.
And people kind of did laugh at us, so we thought, podcast.
Yeah, so basically we spent that whole car ride coming up with the name of the podcast, which probably took us a really long time. I think we were just like listening to Disney Pandora to try to get ideas
That's
for
right.
the Disney podcast. Like I remember Luis saying Hakuna Ma podcast. You definitely did.
Did Luis say that one?
Or maybe it
No,
was
That
I
might
would
have been.
never say that
That
one.
might have been.
You definitely did.
Oh, and by the way, I said no to every single name, including the podcast. But now I'm here, and I'm
You said
very
no
happy.
to the Walt Vault when I produce that brilliant name from my brain.
Actually, that was the only one I did not say no to.
Thank you.
But, I'm happy I'm here now, even though I'm not, but I really am.
Yeah. So
all I can remember was that funny Hakuna podcast one. But Andre did finally come up with the Walt Vault.
Yes.
And then about a year later, we started it. So that's how we got here, everybody.
Man, I kind of like Hakuna My Podcast still. Guys, welcome to Hakuna My Podcast. I'm going to copyright it just so nobody else can use it.
That just makes me want to throw up. I won't lie.
So, yeah, we're all pretty big Disney people. I grew up just loving the movies and stuff. I went to Disneyland a few times as a kid, but I wasn't like super in love with the Disneyland aspect of Disney stuff. I'm more of a movies and music person. Michelle, you love the parks?
Definitely. First time I went to Disneyland, I was in my mother's belly, and
Nice.
we basically would go 3 times a year. We would go in the summer, we would go for Christmas time, and then we would go during spring break. And I remember times during elementary school where my parents would just say I was sick for a week, and we would just go to Disneyland.
Man.
So minimum of 3 times a year, I would say we would go. And then my Disney parks knowledge kind of sparked from there, and I've been going ever since.
Yeah, so ever since me and Michelle started dating, she has taken me to Disneyland and just like sent me on whirlwind adventures through the parks at
4 or
incredible
5
speeds
times
and
now,
stuff
at
like that.
least.
We get on every single ride. It's incredible. It's fantastic. So she knows a lot about the parks.
What about you, Emily? Where did your Disney love spark from?
I'm kind of like Andre. I liked the movies and the music growing up. I like prided myself in knowing all the lyrics to Disney songs and like listening to all the soundtracks and everything. I really enjoyed that. I don't really remember going to Disneyland as a kid. I think we went when I was really little, and I don't really remember that other
Right.
than burning my hand on my cousin's curling iron. But, because that's the Disney magic right there.
Yeah.
But we started going like for choir tour and stuff in junior high, and then I think we went pretty much every year in between that and high school. So we went a lot for that, and that really started my love for the Disney parks. And now I feel like without Disneyland every couple months, it's like I don't even know who I am.
Right.
Like my old coworkers used to be like, "When are you going again?" And I'm like, "Just shut up, because you're jealous, right?"
And without it.
It's funny though, because when Luis and I first started dating, he was like, "I will never go to Disneyland." So he wants to talk about how his life has changed since dating me.
Man.
His Disney life, I'll just say that. But we used to be annual pass holders, but this year we had a major life change.
What was that?
We became DA members, Disneyland Lovers Anonymous, and so we're not going anymore because we
They
sprouted
had a
life.
baby.
Yeah, I incubated life and then it sprouted.
Oh, nice.
And
Cool.
She came out. Her name's Adeline. She's fantastic.
Good
but
job on that, by the way.
She's pretty freaking cute. But we thought that
She's the original Mouseketeer.
Yeah, right?
Right.
At least she's like the podcast baby.
Podcast baby.
But we just wanted to take a little time off only because I don't know if she would enjoy it as much as we would.
Right.
And we can't be those parents who are running around and the kids like crying, I'm tired.
I don't want to ride the Little Mermaid
And we're like,
again.
come on. So, yeah. So, Lou, what about you?
What's your Disney history, Luis?
You pretty much just summed it up for me.
Did you grow up watching the movies or anything like that?
No, I was pretty boring. I just grew up watching the History Channel and, Sesame Street, learning my ABCs.
Oh, well, Sesame Street is part of the Henson Company, which is owned by Disney. So,
They didn't know that then. Pretty sure they didn't own them then.
No, I don't
What
think they
about
did.
Star Wars?
No.
Gasp.
Interesting.
No, I'm really trying to think. No, I don't think so.
Once
So-
again, this is reinforcing the fact that Luis got dragged into this.
Right.
But he's enjoying himself.
No, but the story behind me not ever going to Disneyland actually has to do with the fact that I really didn't have a lot of time to be deeply involved with anything Disney because I played soccer
Right.
my entire life, and I played competitive soccer. So with that said, I was always out every weekend, and the time that I did have to watch TV, I always spent it watching very fun and informative history programs.
Yeah, Luis has been,
And-
as I said last week, he's been 35 since he was 8 years old.
40.
Oh,
I was
40.
8.
Excuse me. I didn't want to DH you.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
And so, anyways, I never really had a lot of time to go ahead and watch any Disney-related shows or anything. But the main reason why I told my wife, which was, we were dating at the time, that I would never go to Disneyland is because we actually went to a soccer tournament, a Coca-Cola tournament that was down south in, I think it was Dominguez Hills. And it was actually the winner of the tournament had a free day pass to Disneyland. And we didn't win. We actually suffered one of our worst defeats ever.
Oh, jeez.
And as a result of that, we only got to go to downtown Disney. And
Wait, so they still took you down there, but you weren't allowed to go into the
That's
park?
like super
Do you like how
rude.
it's like hang out in the Esplanade, but you can't get in?
Yeah, that's like torture.
Buy all this Disney merch, but don't actually go into Disneyland, suckers.
yeah, pretty much. I kind of got a bit of a resentment towards Disneyland because of that reason. It's like being, so close yet so far away kind of thing. And the most exciting thing about that Disney trip was just seeing my team members buy the oversized Mickey gloves and just start,
They're smacking each other in the
smacking
face
each
with
other
them.
around. But that was as far as it got. And ever since then, I was like, nope, I'll never go to Disneyland. And, since then, before I met my wife, I had girlfriends here and there, and they were always, oh, let's go to Disneyland.
No, he didn't.
They were always like, hey, let's go to Disneyland. Yeah. I'm like, never.
Bitter.
But Emily's the one that got you to go.
Yes. And ever since then, actually, I really, really enjoy going to Disneyland.
And all four
Now-
of us have gone a few times together, and it's the most fun. We always have the most fun.
Yes.
most fun.
Very fun.
The most fun.
The most fun.
Extremely
What's your
fun.
favorite part about Disneyland, Lou?
I honestly don't know. Probably going through the security line is pretty awesome.
Oh, okay. That's fun for you.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I mean, it's only fun because I know that the park is safe, and everyone else in there is going to be safe. So it really kind of helps me get into my Disney zone, knowing that everybody's going to be safe. In there.
That's a very good point that I don't think any other person on earth holds the opinion of. Disney, the best part of Disneyland is that everybody's safe. That's great. You guys, we're talking about Moana today, so let's get into that a little bit. Now that you know a little bit more about us, and you'll learn more about us as the podcast goes on. We're very open people, so we'll be upfront with you guys about our lives and stuff like that. But you don't want to hear about that. You want to hear about our thoughts on the movie Moana. We just watched it. I watched it today. Me and Michelle watched it today. You guys watched it yesterday?
Yeah, we watched it last night, and I don't even... Just ask me what I thought.
What?
Ask me what I thought.
What did you think?
Amazing.
What did you think?
I just said I thought it was amazing.
Oh, well, everybody asked you what you thought.
Oh,
I just
and you
didn't get
didn't-
it
you didn't
enough
get a
time to
chance.
ask you, so what do you think?
I thought it was amazing.
Well, that's good.
I agree. The first time I saw Moana, Andre and I had seen it in theaters together. And if you know me, you know that I'm absolutely in love with the ocean. My favorite Disney movie is The Little Mermaid. So I basically just cried a bunch during the movie because it was so amazing. So I loved it.
This movie is really good. It's very beautiful. It's incredible. It's a tearjerker. It's heartwarming. It's got all of the stuff that you want in a Disney movie. Luis, what did you think of Moana?
Well, the first time I watched it, I really enjoyed it. The second time, or actually not the second time, this was the third time we watched it. I won't lie, I was passively watching it. I was doing some other stuff on the side, but oddly enough, the times that I was, 100% watching it, I really enjoyed the scenes a lot more as a result of watching.
Oh,
it
you
the
liked
third time.
watching the movie when you were paying attention?
Yes. Only when I pay attention do I like a movie. If I'm watching it passively, I'm very indifferent about
Oh,
it.
okay. That makes
Amazing.
sense.
But honestly, the thing that I like most about this movie is the animation.
Yeah,
The
it looks
animation.
It's
beautiful.
beautiful.
It really looked like it was a real person's hair.
So, like, this was one of the... I think this is, like, Disney's third or fourth, 3D animated movie, right? So they had, they had Tangled, they had... What was the other one? Frozen, and then was there another one? Or was it just this one? Of the 3D ones. I don't remember. But
I think just Tangled and Frozen.
Tangled, Frozen, and then Moana, yeah. And of this new age of animated movie that's not 2D animation
Mhm.
anymore.
So Frozen, and Frozen, right?
Yeah. Those four movies.
Basically.
But I think this one. I think this one, Moana, is definitely the most technically advanced and most special effectsly.
I mean, they did such a good job just on the water and creating it as a
like,
character.
It's like the water was a character in itself.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was.
Yeah, it was.
But,
A couple times when we were watching the beginning of the movie, especially when they're on Montanui where she lives, when you're looking at the landscape, there were a couple times when Luis and I were like, oh my gosh, if you took the characters themselves out of it, it almost looks real.
Right.
Because when you look at Moana, she's obviously not a real person, right? I mean, she's character. She's drawn. Or but when you look at like the palm trees and the ocean and the way everything moves
and the water,
oh
the
yeah,
boats, even the boats, it looks so vivid,
very
realistic,
very realistic, and very culturally true to the time period and to the area in which they live, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, man. Let's move to Hawaii, guys. Please.
It's
Somebody.
not in Hawaii, but
Well, it's in the Pacific Islands.
Yes,
right.
South Pacific, we're good.
Yeah, it's. I just want to be in Hawaii because it's like closer.
I agree.
I don't have
And
to change
warmer
my
and
citizenship
beautiful.
Or anything like
Yeah,
that.
Well-
you could still be a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, exactly.
There you
True.
go.
Moana is actually played by Ali'i Carvalho.
Ali Carvalho.
Carvalho.
I
And
totally
she's from
looked up-
Hawaii.
I totally looked
so
up how to say her name, and
can
I
go
forgot
ask
it.
her how she likes Hawaii. So she's from Hawaii, and I feel like she literally looks like Moana, which is crazy. She was the last person to audition out of hundreds of actresses and wasn't originally going to audition for the part. So that's just a fun fact about that. She was the last person to audition,
Which is pretty crazy.
and she got it.
Yeah, they had gone through hundreds of people, and then this last one's like, oh, thank God this one showed up. Otherwise, we would have had to deal with Joe Schmo over here playing Moana. And she's amazing. This is her first time acting, I believe. And when she started the movie, I think she was like 14 or 15 years old, and she has an incredible voice. The How Far I'll Go song, it's off the hook. It's incredible. It's like a
Tearjerker.
It's like an instant classic. Like it just starts playing. It's like, oh, this is my favorite
And I
song ever.
had this conversation with you. Like, everybody's obsessed with the song "Let It Go," but "How Far I'll Go" is way better.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
of the I'll Go songs,
It's the better "I'll Go" song
How Far
for
I'll Go.
sure.
Stop. That's funny that you say that because Luis and I were talking about this last night as well. We joke about Frozen a lot because, you know, Frozen's just so overdone. And I will say that maybe not so much anymore, but I used to be the hugest Idina, hugest, right?
Hugest.
The hugest
The hugest.
Idina Menzel fan. I mean, for years and years and years and years. I have a signed picture
Ooh.
of me in an Idina Menzel shirt, and she actually signed it, and it said like "Keep chasing your dreams" or something. I don't know.
Something
It's super
inspirational,
corny, but whatever. And so I totally love her, and I love her vibe and everything. But it was interesting how when, you know, "Let It Go" was definitely written for her voice.
Right.
Like, it was composed with her in mind, and no one can sing it like she can because it's written for her. And I think, and Luis was saying last night that he's happy that How Far I'll Go didn't blow up as much.
Right.
But I think it's because of her stardom, right? I
Yes.
think that if Moana, the girl who played Moana, was famous, it might have done that. But it almost like worked better in the movie's favor that she wasn't someone famous.
Correct. Because I think like the main problem with Frozen is that it was a very good movie. I loved it when I watched it the first time, and then it just blew up out of control. They went super hardcore into their marketing for it after it came out. They put that song on the radio and played it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And
we let it go.
And we all had to
We
let it go.
Yes.
I mean, we were just at Disneyland, and they played Frozen during the World of Color show. And
we saw it. We were like, ugh.
And as soon as it started, I was like, watch all these little kids. And all the little kids started singing the song as soon as it started up, just because they all know it. They all know all of the words to it. Every 3-year-old in the country knows Let It Go.
So, yeah, I agree. I'm kind of happy that it hasn't blown up as much, obviously, and it's an extremely amazing movie, and tons of people love it. But that song, I will cherish more because it didn't blow up.
Because
like
it didn't get
Let It Go
overplayed.
did. Yes.
Correct.
I'm actually very happy that we finally let go of that song, Let It Go, because it was not my favorite. And I'm a bit biased because I'm not a big Olaf fan. And
Oh, you don't like Olaf?
no, Olaf is the worst character ever created.
Because Olaf sings "Let It Go."
By association,
Let
that
it
song,
snow. Let it snow.
by association to Olaf, that song was tainted.
You're
for
funny.
me. No, but going back to this song,
How far I'll go.
How Far I'll Go, I'll honestly say that it's not just that one song, it's the entire soundtrack.
Yes.
I think the entire soundtrack for this movie is by far the best Disney princess soundtrack I've personally ever heard.
Mm.
And that's just my own opinion.
Yeah, the music in this movie was done mostly by Lin-Manuel Miranda, the famed
Love him.
composer and playwright and actor and singer and all that other stuff that he does.
Rapper, I guess.
Yeah, he's a rapper too. The guy who did Hamilton. I have a very contentious relationship with Lin-Manuel Miranda because
Tell him about it.
because one of my college roommates is his cousin, and so like he was like pumping it full into my face while we were in college because like In the Heights had just come out. And he was like, "You got to listen to this. It's the best thing ever." And I had a large falling out with my roommate, so I didn't listen to In the Heights. And when Hamilton came out, I was like, "Oh my god, this freaking guy is all over the news and he's doing all this stuff." So like
Andre's all pissed off.
I was so mad. I was so mad that he had become so successful. So Hamilton came out and everybody was listening to it, and I refused to touch it. But then this movie came out, and I finally got to like hear what this dude was like actually all about, and he's pretty awesome. So
Did you go back and listen to anything
no,
else?
I have not. I still have not listened to Hamilton.
Andre said
I have
no.
not listened to In the Heights. But when Hamilton gets to a price where I can see it and it's close by, then I think that's totally going to go down. Because it's probably right up my alley. It's all historical, and it's all rap, and it's all black and brown people doing the acting and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I'm sure you
I'll give in to my hatred of Lin-Manuel Miranda to watch his
You can't
super
even
famous
say you
play.
hate him because everything you've heard so far you like.
Right, yeah, exactly. Because it's all good. I hate him
funny.
for purely superficial roommate reasons.
Cousin.
It's his cousin.
College
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah,
Reasons.
that's right.
Okay,
He
so
takes those and he takes down hard.
Damn, Andre, this is taking it back to like the Romeo and Juliet with the two families warring.
Yeah, it's me versus the Mirandas.
Yeah, it's pretty much
the Miranda's won. He's
The
rich
Mo-
and famous.
Yeah.
the Mortons versus the Mirandas.
Yeah,
There
this
you
is
go.
The
Not
Andres, to be more exact.
not
You heard it here first.
not a battle that I'm currently winning. I don't think. I think I'm giving in and hey, let these two kids get married. I don't care. It's fine.
All right, so I would like to talk about Maui, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So fun facts about Maui. They asked him to play the part. They had made this character, and they asked him. They based the character off of him. They basically structured him around Dwayne Johnson's personality, and
Yeah.
Dwayne was just like, okay.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, offer only.
And
No
also-
auditions for him.
The look of Maui is partly inspired by his grandfather.
By The
and we
Rock's
saw
grandfather.
a picture of him, and he was the High Chief Peter Mavia of Samoa, and his grandfather was also a pro wrestler. So there you
Which
go.
is pretty cool. He was a chief and a wrestler.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
How do you guys feel about his like transition from being a wrestler to an actor?
Oh, I love The Rock. I think he's extremely charming and hilarious, and he's good in almost everything that he does. Like no matter what the movie is, he's a superstar. Like he's done a fair amount of very bad movies, like Baywatch and what was that one with the earthquake, San Andreas. There's a bunch of stuff that he's done that isn't great, but I love him in everything that I watch.
I really wish this was not a podcast and you could see the look on my face because Andre said he is so great. And FYI, he's not great. I cannot. Okay. His acting is rough city.
Okay.
But he is very charming.
Yes.
And I agree with you. I like The Rock off screen. I like who he is. I like when you listen to him, he's very humble. He seems like someone you could actually really be friends with, even though he's like the superstar.
Cool guy.
But I I take all of that back in this movie, meaning I take back that I don't think he's a good actor because this really does fit everything. Like Michelle said, you can see his personality shine through. All of the little things that in a normal movie would make me mad, like the little one-off remarks that he says, where it's like, "Oh, you use a bird, it's tweeting," right?
I laughed so hard when he
usually
said
I would
that.
be like, "Oh my gosh, stop!" But it just seems like something he would say. You could see him all up in the
It
script.
works for him. Yeah,
It
And
worked really well.
He surprised me with his singing abilities as well.
Right.
Me as well.
That "You're Welcome" song is very funny.
You're welcome.
Speaking of "You're welcome," can I throw something in right there?
Ooh, yes.
Okay. Michelle's about to have a flip out because I like to be Easter egg queen. And if you guys don't know what Easter eggs are, they're little hidden parts of movies that do nods to other pop culture or other movies.
They refer to some older stuff or other Disney movies.
And Pixar has been, huge into the Easter egg game for a long time, and now Disney films are starting to do it as well. Long story short, in the "You're Welcome" scene, we see a nice little flash to one of Michelle's favorite characters.
Say what?
Say what? Flounder is actually seen
Where?
swimming up during the "You're Welcome" song. So now
How did I miss this?
I might have to post a picture of it on the
Love
Instagram.
me some flounder.
But I will definitely show Michelle this after so she can see the
Yes,
cuteness.
I need to see that.
Wow, yeah, I had no idea that was
Also, another
a thing.
theory about Maui. I read this on the internet the other day, and tell me what you guys think. Lilo and Stitch, at the beginning of the movie, she goes to feed a fish named Pudge in the ocean a peanut butter sandwich because if she doesn't feed him a sandwich, he controls the weather. Pudge controls the weather.
Oh, that was like Lilo's
So,
theory.
the theory is that Pudge, the fish, is Maui because Maui can control the weather, and maybe he made a storm or something happen in Hawaii because her parents died driving in a
Sure.
storm. So maybe he feels bad, and now he's like checking in on her, and
I
she
gotta
feeds
stay
him
a
a sandwich
goldfish.
because she knows he controls the weather. What do you guys think about
Interesting.
that?
That's an interesting tie to.
I think people go too far with them, but I like to talk about them anyways.
That's kind of depressing that
Right,
he
it's a
made
little
her
sad.
parents die.
Yeah, he killed her parents,
But he does control the weather.
and now he's trapped as a
So,
goldfish forever.
Who knows?
I had a theory that so there's the scene early on in the movie where little baby Moana, she's walking out like to the ocean for the first time, and then she sees like a little turtle, and
I already know where you're going
the
with
turtle
this.
has to like get to the water to survive, and there's like birds or something like that that's trying to attack it. I think that little bird is, that little turtle is
Crush.
either Crush or an ancestor of Crush.
For sure, they move and swim the same way. I
Well,
thought that too. I mean,
They're
obviously,
both turtles, so
animation,
but that's a cool fan theory that I
I think
have.
so.
I agree with you. I believe it is Crush 100%.
Yes.
If I am correct, sea turtles probably. They will. I'm not sure they'll have as long of a lifespan as regular tortoise. However, I do believe that they probably grow to be very old. So
I think in
agree
Finding
with you.
Nemo, Crush says that he's like 100 and something. I think he said he's over 100 years old. I think.
I read a source that said that Moana was supposed to happen like 2,000 years ago.
Right. That's what I assumed. That it's a very long time ago.
So if it's that long ago, probably not Crush, but just the
descendant.
way that you go, like the way that he swims away, like as
Yeah.
the tide's going, he very much looks like
He looks like Crush.
like Crush
Yeah.
and Squirt. So
Yeah.
definitely could be
he's
ancestors.
like Crush's grandpa, or something
Very
like
nice.
that. Okay. What else? Do we have any other Disney theories? Oh, you know what I was thinking? So this is probably just because we just saw Thor Ragnarok, but I think Maui and Thor are very similar dudes. They're both gods. They both use a tool to harness their magical powers. And they're both super cocky and confident to the point of losing their losing their magical tools.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna agree with you on certain points. Maui wasn't he a demigod though?
So yeah, Maui is a demigod.
Partial god. He
Yeah.
harnesses his powers from his fishhook, which was given to him by a god.
Right, the gods gave him his powers.
Which is funny
whereas
because
Thor is born as a god.
I mean, here's my question to everybody who listens, and to you guys as well. Who would you take in a fight?
Ooh.
Maui or the new Aquaman that is played by
Jason Momoa?
Jason Momoa.
Like, who could I defeat in a fight?
No.
No,
Them
who would
versus
win
each
between
other.
the two?
Oh, if they were battling each other.
Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, I mean, you take a look at Jason, the one who's playing Aquaman, and, if I am correct, he is Samoan.
I believe so, yes.
And he, when I was looking at the movie yesterday, I'm like, you know what? There are a lot of features that Jason has that reminded me a lot of Maui.
Yeah, in 20 years when they do a live-action remake of Moana, Jason Momoa could totally play.
He definitely
totally
needs to
Maui.
play it. But, I mean, the main reason why I bring it up is because it is Maui has the weapon that he uses that is a source of his power, which is a fish hook. And that can be seen as it's a way to go. It's like an instrument that is used in the sea. And then Aquaman has a trident,
Right.
which
So-
is also a weapon that is used in the sea.
For those of you that don't know, Aquaman, he's a DC superhero. He is the king of Atlantis, similar to King Triton, I suppose, but not a mermaid. He holds a trident. He can speak to fish. He can swim super fast. He has some super strength. He's extremely durable. Like bullets kind of bounce off of him, and he can also throw like little whirlpool water balls.
Well, and Luis was talking about this last night, and he was saying, if Aquaman can control sea life, Maui can turn into sea life. Right? Because, he's a shapeshifter, so he goes between forms. So they kind of have some similarities, which makes them kind of comparable in a fight, except for can Aquaman, walk on land?
Yeah.
Oh,
Aquaman can
because
totally walk on land.
I won't lie to you. I think Aquaman's a little silly.
So that's a huge thing in not just the real life, but also in the DC universe. Everybody kind of thinks Aquaman kind of sucks.
Do they make fun of him? Because I'm making fun of him in
They
my
make
head.
fun of him a fair amount, but he is a legitimate contender in the DC universe. He's probably not quite as strong as Wonder Woman, but somewhat close. So he can hold his own. And at one point in the DC universe, I don't know if this will happen in his movie or the Justice League movie or anything like that, but he gets his hand cut off, and his hand is replaced with a elongated fish hook kind of thing, so he can shoot out like a projectile. What's that thing?
So
called?
he's like Azog the Defiler.
Ooh, yeah,
From
exactly,
The
from The
Hobbit.
Hobbit. Yeah,
FYI,
It's-
Emily's favorite movie.
it's almost exactly like that arm apparatus. Yes.
Oh my god. Well, now I need to. Maybe he's my new favorite character because Azog is the coolest villain ever.
So going back to the topic of who would win in a fight, Maui or the new Aquaman. Well, personally, they all have their strengths. I think that if it were to come down to a fight that excludes abilities, I truly believe that Aquaman would probably have the upper hand.
Like if Maui did not have his fish hook, that Aquaman could
Yes,
take
if
him.
Maui did not have his fish hook, if Aquaman did not use any of his extra abilities like speaking to, wildlife or,
If
calling
it
on
was just
any
a-
ocean life to help.
If it was just a boxing match,
Yeah, if it
between
was a
Maui
straight up
and
boxing
Aquaman,
match, I think Aquaman would win.
I think you might be right. It's kind of hard to judge Maui's strength when he doesn't have the fish hook. He's still pretty strong. He's tugging on that boat pretty hard and stuff like that. But he doesn't he doesn't do anything else super duper strong when he doesn't have the fish hook. So it's kind of hard to tell.
Andre, who do you think would win?
I think that if they didn't have anything, then yeah, I think I agree with Luis that Aquaman will win. But when Maui has that fish hook, I think he can take him. I think that fish hook is more powerful than Aquaman's body.
I just want you to think right now that Maui is the Rock and the Rock is Maui, and you really think that the Rock would not win?
That's what I just said. I said he would win if he had the fish hook.
Nah, no
Yeah.
fish hook.
No fish hook.
He's just gonna be like, "You smell what Maui's cooking?" Boom.
And then Aquaman will punch him into the water where he will be digested by several thousand piranha.
Yeah. I feel like this debate is hard for me because I'm thinking of it as Dwayne Johnson versus Jason Momoa. And I love Jason Momoa, so I'm just going to say he would win.
Aquaman.
Biased. Totally biased. And I mean, he's Khal Drogo, so he would win.
Shout out to the Game of Thrones people.
So, after 4 rounds, Aquaman is the victor over Maui.
Yeah, we'll take that. We'll take that. If we watch Justice League and decide that that's different, we'll update you guys.
We will not watch Justice League. This is a Disney podcast.
I didn't say we'd talk about it on the podcast, but I'm definitely going to go watch Justice League.
DC is not a part of this universe,
Correct.
FYI.
So moving on. So we were talking about parallels, and another parallel that I kind of noticed in the movie is that Moana's dad, the chief of the village, he's just basically King Triton. He's like, nobody can go beyond the reef. And King Triton's like, nobody can go to the surface. They're just the same.
One's
Just-
like, don't get in the water. The other one's like, don't get
out
out of the water.
Basically. And they're both controlling, and Moana and Ariel are both like, Daddy, no.
You don't understand. I
So,
love it. I love him.
I was thinking about this too, that he is like a controlling father, like King Triton. But I think Moana's dad's reasons for controlling Moana over King Triton's reasons for controlling Ariel are a little bit better and stronger and better for women in general. King Triton is like, don't go out there. You're a tiny little girl, and you suck at everything, and you're gonna get eaten alive up there. But
it's because King Triton's wife died from a ship.
sure, but
So that's why.
But yeah, that's why. But Moana's dad is like, don't go out there. Focus on this. Help our people because you're good at it.
Okay,
Be
yes.
the chiefess
Okay.
of this place because you're good at it, and lead us and stuff like that.
And he's like, you can do pretty much whatever you want on this
Exactly.
island.
Mhm.
And
Just
I
don't
feel
leave the
like
island.
He just locks Ariel away.
Right.
King Triton's like,
Go to your
"Hey,
room."
girl. Get in your room, girl.
Yep. You missed the choir concert.
I'm destroying all your stuff.
Pew pew. Okay. True.
Yeah. So I thought that Moana's dad was just a little bit better in that sense of
I can agree with that.
in terms of being like a jerk dad. He's
Yeah.
slightly less of a jerk.
Okay. I agree.
Also, he has some sick dance moves.
That's right.
If you see him
All
getting
the
his
dance
culture on, I
moves,
was like,
yeah.
yeah. Like, I wanted
It's
to get
true.
down and dance with them. It
Oh
was-
my
it was
God!
fun.
Speaking of dancing, that tiny 15-second scene of that little kid dancing when Moana's like teaching them how to dance. That kid is the best. I love him
Oh, you
so
talking
much.
about Michael?
Is his name? I don't. He didn't
No,
have a
no.
name. He didn't have any lines,
Michael.
but he's definitely little tiny Michael Jackson.
He was getting it.
He was
getting
flirting
it.
super hard with Moana with just his eyes. Incredible.
And his lips.
The charisma on this kid is out of control.
I totally love that part. I agree.
Oh, what a good tiny little addition that they totally didn't need to throw in there, but they did.
But they
and
did
I'm
anyway.
happier for
True.
it.
Luis, I have a question for you. Sidekicks. They make a joke in this movie about how if you sing and you have a sidekick, you're a princess, which technically Moana's not a princess. She's the daughters of the chief.
Right.
But let's talk about sidekicks. Who's better? Like, who's her actual sidekick? Is it Pua or Hey Hey, and who's better?
That is a very great question. I personally, it's a tough one for me because Hey Hey is damn hilarious.
Yeah, so Hey Hey's the chicken, and Pua's the little pig.
The pig.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Pua's cute as hell, and I'm a 28-year-old grown man, and I'm saying the little piglet's cute, but Hey Hey is just damn ridiculous. I do not know what it is about that chicken, but pardon my language. He is just very, very, very funny. The fact that my favorite scene is when he barely realizes he's in the middle of the ocean. He turns to one over his shoulder. All he sees is water. Turns to the other shoulder. All he sees is water. And then all of a sudden you just hear him go. And he's like totally like horrified. But no, a minute later he's over there jumping to the ocean like he just forgot that he's terrified.
Right.
I don't
The
know.
best part of all that, and I know that you could hear that, was that Luis said that he turned to one side and he literally turned his head and then his voice went right. He acts it out over here. You guys are just missing it.
Yeah, we need to start this as a video podcast because you're missing out on a lot of good Luis
Quite
moments.
hilarious. I feel like my only argument for both of them is that they both have little moments in the movie where Moana wouldn't have progressed without them, because Pua hands Moana the oar and is like, get on the boat, get on the boat.
Right.
But then at the end of the movie, she like, the little, the heart of Tafiti, the little green stone, like slips out of her hand, and then the chicken grabs it, and then he acts like he's going to eat it, but then he doesn't. He gives it back to her.
Hey comes in clutch like a bunch of times towards the end of this movie.
I would say that who is her sidekick? Like, to answer that question, I would say Pua, because her running around the island is with Pua. Like, he's her friend, and he's the one who gets her on the canoe in the first place, and he was pretty courageous getting out there with her, but then after that first ocean encounter, he was like, screw that, staying on the island, right?
True.
But he's doing some chicken stuff, and honestly, he kind of got them out of some stuff, so I feel like he might be the more helpful, and Pua is the actual sidekick.
And also, when they were promoting the movie, I felt like they showed the pig so much more than the chicken. Like, even they had Pua, like the little stuffed animals that you could buy, but I hadn't seen no chicken.
Yeah.
Well, and I totally thought he was going to be in the movie more.
That's what I was thinking too. Like,
I was kind of sad when he wasn't on the boat.
Right. He just got left on the island, and hey, the stowaway got to have all of the glory. But honestly, I think we're forgetting someone in this sidekick debate, and that is the ocean. The ocean
was the biz.
The ocean
Very
helps out
true.
Moana way more than either Pua or Hey.
It's like her little secret weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, I swear, The Rock could have thrown Moana off 17 more times, and I would have laughed.
It still would have been funny.
Time. It was hilarious.
There was a lot of like good like physical comedy in this movie. Like, there's one point when Maui is like going away on the boat on the island, and Moana's like, no way, I'm not letting this happen, and she jumps off to get to the boat, and then just totally falls in the water, falls face first in the water, and it's
very
great.
True.
And there's a bunch of stuff like that, and I think that like the style of how they're drawn or animated or whatever really helps for that. Like, Maui he's kind of like
large.
He's obviously based off of like, you know, larger South Pacific Samoan Islander type dudes, but he's physically drawn in such a way that he's super stout. He has tiny legs. Like, if you look at a picture of him, look at his legs compared to his torso, and they're ridiculously small. But his feet are gigantic. When he's like laying down, his feet are like bigger than his whole head.
He kind of reminds me of like Wreck-It Ralph, but like Samoan version.
Right.
So their body,
their
body sizes like totally just overpower the screen, and I think that's what makes it extra funny. Like when the ocean slaps him around, you know, it's like, oh, you think you're gonna swim away? Nope. Quite hilarious.
There's some water in your face.
Okay, let's talk about another character in this movie. Before we get to the one that Michelle really wants to talk about, we're going to talk about the one that I personally was not a huge fan of, which were the Kakamoras.
Oh!
You didn't like those?
I love those little dudes.
Oh, God. Okay,
the little coconuts? They're so funny. I love them.
Okay, so let me tell you my problem with them before I watched the movie again, and then afterwards, I suppose. Okay. So before watching them, I thought to myself, I don't like the fact that there's animated coconuts. Not the fact that they're actually animated. I mean, like
they're a thing.
They're living, right? Because
they're
I
like
get
gods, kind of.
Disney movies have talking and or like very conscious sidekicks. That's fine with me. They're animals, whatever. But like an animated coconut, like a coconut that runs around, that's weird to me, right? So at first when I watched it, I was like, this is really weird. But then we watched it again yesterday, and Luis made a really good point. He said he thinks that they are something else inside of a coconut.
Correct. They are wearing coconuts.
They're wearing
armor.
coconuts.
So the coconut is the armor. Yes. I thought it was a coconut running around, which
sprouted legs and arms.
I was like not okay with that whatsoever. Like, that is weird. I'm not.
No,
but
the coconut's their armor. Yeah.
Now
That's why it's so funny.
Now that I get that, I'm more okay with it. But at first, I was like, "This is stupid."
They're super cool. They're super smart.
They're hilarious.
Like the boats that they created and crafted.
If you watch that scene very intensely, I love this part where they're like connected to ropes and they're hopping on the giant drum, and it's just funny.
Just bouncing around, making noise. Luis, you didn't have anything to say?
Luis is looking at us very intently. I don't know what he's thinking about the coconuts.
What do you think about coconut dudes?
I thought they were very cute before they started to put that face painting
Right. So
on their coconuts.
when you
that
first
made
see them, they're
be
just
very
standing there.
evil.
and then they put like angry eyebrows on their
Yeah,
faces.
that was pretty funny.
It was funny.
That was very funny.
Luis actually found a, what do you call it? An Easter egg too, in the Kakamora scene, and it's actually very cute and one of my favorite movies. Louis, tell them what you found.
If you pay attention to the scene where the Kakamora are bringing them closer into their ship, and then you get a glimpse of the main Kakamoras and then a whole bunch of them in the background.
Mm-hmm.
If you look over to the right-hand side of your screen and you kind of focus dead center right, you'll notice that one of the Kakamoras actually looks a lot like another character from a Disney movie that goes by the name of Baymax.
Oh.
What? There's a Baymax Kakamora?
Well, yes, the face painting that is on the actual Kakamora looks very
like Baymax?
much like Baymax. And it's also like a stretched out coconut rather than a regular looking coconut.
I can't remember. Did Big Hero 6 come out before or after this?
Before.
It came out before?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that is that's
Interesting.
very good. Good catch. Good eyes. I don't
I
think I
like
noticed anything crazy in this movie.
The only other Easter eggs I noticed is when Maui is shapeshifting. There's a moment where he shapeshifts into Heimlich from A Bug's Life, and then there's another moment where he shapeshifts and he's Sven from Frozen.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
Get out of here. Could have done without that. But the Heimlich one was funny. Was there anything else, Emily?
Yeah, I actually saw a couple other ones as well, which I won't lie, I did some research so that I could find them in the movie, but this one I hadn't seen before. But in the beginning of the movie, when grandmother or grandma, who's an amazing character,
She's
we haven't
awesome.
talked about
The
her yet.
best character.
She's telling them the story, and all the kids are like starting to freak out, right?
all
And she's
scared.
like, "You can't get away from inescapable death," right? And all the kids are freaking out. And Moana's dad comes up and he hits a tapestry, and the tapestry falls. It's actually Marshmallow from Frozen, right? But it's cool because Marshmallow wasn't an overdone character for me.
Right.
I liked him. He is the big scary snowman that protected her fortress. And then another one is in that same scene Michelle was just talking about when Maui's on the top of what's his name? The crab that we're going to talk about.
Tamatoa.
Tamatoa. Ooh, I can't wait to talk about that.
Bleh.
So he's on top of Tamatoa. And they pan out and you actually see Aladdin's genie lamp.
Oh.
In the corner. That one to me, though, I mean, any genie lamp to me would look like Aladdin's genie lamp.
Sure.
So is it his? I would say, who knows? But if you see it, you're going to think Aladdin.
Yeah.
But then again,
Yeah,
the
that's
entire
cool.
scene is gold.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
he's shiny, so... Yeah.
So he's shiny.
He's shiny. I don't
So,
know if you
Michelle,
guys
would
knew
you like to
this.
segue us into that one?
Oh, God. Okay, so Emily sent me this meme the other day, and it was like a picture of Tamatoa's crazy face, and it was just like, I'm my favorite character in Moana, which is so untrue. I can't stand Tamatoa. I hate that song. He just talks about being shiny the whole time. If they cut that whole scene out of the movie, I'd be okay with it. I just don't like him. Sorry, I'm a Debbie Downer right now.
Y'all should know that before we started recording, Michelle could not stop singing, "I'm shiny."
I hate that song, and now it's stuck in my head, and I'm like, keep singing it. Oh, it's kind of catchy now. It might be one of those things where I hate it so much that eventually I'm going to like it, and I'm going to get so frustrated. But I just remember, like, crying in the theater for every other song. Like, it was so beautiful, and the story was great. And then this crab comes on, and I was like, what just happened? I don't know. It just seemed out of place to me.
Andre, what do you think?
I also did not enjoy the shiny song. I think like the content of the song, like him talking about himself being shiny and stuff, is fine. But like the way that he's singing it in kind of like that like talk singing kind of voice, and the rhymes and stuff aren't that great. I think I just
said
don't
that
like
too.
the structure of the song.
Maybe
itself.
if it was a different voice, or like if it was kind of saying in a different manner, I might have enjoyed it more. But
So Tamatoa was played by a man named Jermaine Clement, who I love. He's a New Zealand actor. He's one of the guys in Flight of the Conchords. He's actually the guy who directed Thor, Taika Waititi. He's like one of his very good friends. He's been in a bunch of his movies and stuff like that. So I love this guy. as an actor. But like this role for him, I don't know what his direction was like, but I didn't like much of it.
I will say that I loved Tamatoa. I thought he was freaking hilarious. But I will say that I agree that the song itself didn't. If you look at the rest of the musical library for this movie, it didn't fit. So I will agree with you there, but I thought he was hilarious. Everything from the first moment when he was like, pick an eye, babe. Like, I can't focus because she kept going back and forth between his eyes. I was already caught in his character. I loved, but I can agree that the song itself wasn't that fantastic. I just think I liked it because it showed a good juxtaposition between him and Maui. Because if you look at who their characters were, they were pretty dang similar.
Right.
Yeah.
Tamatoa had his shell that was covered in things, and Maui's skin was covered in accomplishments. So it was almost like you could see like similarities.
I said Maui didn't eat his grandmother.
Yeah, but he like ruined like the earth with Tafiti. I mean,
true.
You know what I mean? Spoiler,
everybody makes mistakes.
Sorry, but I mean, it took him a long time to eat his grandmother because she was freaking huge. I mean, tell me that's not hilarious. You're laughing because it's funny.
It's funny, but I just. Like I said, maybe if it was a different actor, I would have thought it was more funny. Yeah. Like a different voice. It's just something about it threw me off. And as I'm watching it more, I'm kind of liking it more and noticing more things. So we'll see if it grows on me.
Yeah. I totally understand.
I didn't have a problem with like the scene in general. Like I love like the whole realm of monsters place that they dropped into, and his character. Though he's not like my favorite villain or anything like that, he was fine. It was just the song I think I mainly had to.
Yeah, that might have been it more. And then Emily pointed out to us that there's an after credit scene, which Andre and I had never seen. We didn't know there was an after credit scene, and it's about Tamatoa, and it's pretty funny. And so now I'm kind of liking it more just because of that after credit scene.
Yes. There's another
he like breaks
Disney
the
reference.
fourth wall.
Yes,
it's funny. Yeah.
What does he say? He says, "If I was small and red and had a funny Jamaican accent, you guys would totally flip me back over, but I'm not."
Because he was still on his back the whole time. He couldn't get back over. He was too shiny.
It was pretty funny. I'll admit that.
He was good. I really like him.
Yeah. So that's Tamatoa.
Speaking of the end of the movie, okay, this has really nothing to do with anything except for Luis and I just laughed about it. In the end credits, I don't know if you guys just watch credits. I have never in my life done it, but like Luis likes to watch them because he's an interesting human being.
Sure.
And sometimes you'll see production babies, like you'll see babies that were born during the production of a movie.
Oh, okay.
For like the creators or the writers or whatever. That's always really cool. I like to look at that. But there's another heading that's been in the last in Frozen and in this one, and it's called caffeination. And literally, it's like the coffee dude. And so
the one that brings some coffee.
Yes.
How do I get that job?
So that's what I said.
Oh my
so
God.
I'm giving like the hugest shout out to Carlos Benavides.
Carlos Benavides.
Who's like
You
the
realist.
coffee coordinator for these movies.
That's
because
amazing.
he's keeping the world running. I'm just gonna
That's
throw it out there.
hilarious.
That's so
I
funny.
love that.
Because I mean, for most movies and productions in general, there's like a craft services person, a person who will bring out all of the food for all the actors and crew and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so
But do they put him in the credits?
I don't.
They usually do like
I feel
companies,
like
if
Okay.
it was
It's like
say it was Starbucks, they would say like thank you to Starbucks in Burbank,
right,
or
or like
whatever.
a catering company
Okay.
or whatever that does like
But
craft services.
not.
But not.
Carlos Benavides.
They
I
had-
really hope he's listening.
They had the
That's
craft services
hilarious.
person, and then they also had separately a caffeination person.
Caffeination.
I
That's
just feel
amazing.
like I would do that job really well. My name is Emily Ruiz. Thank you.
Emily loves coffee, as you can tell by our little logo. She's holding a coffee cup. So
Yeah.
perfect job for you.
Yes,
Coffee
and I've
person.
only drank 3 cups while we've been doing this
Oh my
episode.
God.
So
She has. She's gotten up to get coffee multiple
My
times.
heart would beat out of its chest if I had 3 cups of coffee.
that's why I'm the loudest one on this podcast.
Emily is the
That's why everyone's
caffeination.
laughing right now because when they listen, my voice breaks their speakers.
Right, yeah.
You're
Hilarious.
welcome.
Turn it down. guys.
Hilarious.
Turn it down.
I have-
Andre, you turn it down. You're doing the mixing.
That's right. I'm holding.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
I'm the producer.
I have like one also random comment, but maybe this is just like the musical theater person in me. The reprise to Let It Go was like amazing, and I
How
know.
far I'll go? You mean?
No, to Let It Go
Oh.
in the Frozen movie.
Okay.
The reprise to that is like way better than like the actual,
Then the
or maybe it's not. a Let It Go reprise. I think it might be to a different song, but there's a reprise where they're like in the frozen castle and she's like, get out. And Anna's like, no, I'm going to stay and help you.
Yeah, no,
but the
right.
reprise also of How Far I'll Go and this one made me cry so hard.
Yeah.
I think just reprises in movies in general. I'm always like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, because they take the most powerful song and they bring it back for that. It always, if you look at it from like a formulaic kind of direction, they're going to take the most impactful moment and turn it into the emotional, crux of the movie.
True.
And they really do that, at least in Moana,
They're
I
like,
think.
watch this. I'm going to hit him with this super powerful song.
And Moana
you
hit
thought it was
home.
over? I don't think so.
Oh, you
Here's some
thought that
more
was
of that
powerful.
song.
And it was bad because, I was crying during the regular How Far I'll Go song just because of my connection with the ocean and everything. And then they had to hit me with the reprise one time. I was losing it.
I just think it's cute that you guys cry. I'm going to call you both out because you said tearjerker earlier.
It's a
and I am
tearjerker.
not.
My tears were not pulled all the way out of my eyes.
Oh, they were
jerks.
dripping
They were
down my
jerks,
face.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't like I'm just like teary and I'm like, man, that got me. That was great.
Okay. I didn't quite get there until the end when Grandma comes back in spirit, right?
Oh.
And she's
Force
like,
Ghost
on,
Grandma.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jude, and
Force
she's like
Ghost Grandma.
she's on the boat, and she's like, "Do you know who you are?" And they go, Grandma, I know who I am. Like, I'm ready, right?
Yes,
And then you
Grandma,
get the
yes.
whole thing and she gets this realization. She's like, I am Moana.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know.
That was real powerful.
Well, and that moment when she says, like, she starts her name, I am Moana, and I'm like, oh, God.
There it
right?
goes.
There it is.
There it
Oh,
is.
God. Right. And that's the
I
Disney
agree.
moment right there.
Yeah, that grandma character is amazing.
She's fantastic.
Who's better, that grandma or Grandmother Willow?
I was just about
Oh,
to say.
Or
no.
Grandmother from Mulan?
Oh.
I'm just going to say it. Grandmas are the business
Oh,
in Disney
man,
movies.
I never even thought about that.
Because parents
that.
always suck in Disney movies, but grandmas
grandma-
are forever.
Right.
The grandma in this one really hit home for me, I feel like, because she was like the village crazy lady, which was hilarious. And sometimes people think I'm crazy because sometimes I am, whatever.
One day,
But
Michelle will be
I
the
think
village
I'm going to
crazy
be
lady.
her as a grandma, like literally dancing by the ocean, and people are going to be like, what is she doing?
There's a part when she is showing Moana like the boats, and she like opens the pulls the rocks out, and she goes like, "Ooh."
Yes, she does.
It's
Which is
so
totally
funny.
me. Like, I would do something like that.
Do you remember
So I
last
love
week?
it.
Book. Yeah,
Yes.
that was Michelle.
Yeah, definitely. And then this is random too, but so she has the manta ray tattoo. She comes back as her spirit is a manta ray. Well, I went on a cruise to the Caribbean and I swam with manta rays, and then the ocean like kind of pushed me the wrong way because I started getting scared, because you know how once you're in the ocean and you get scared of the ocean knows you're like scared of it. Okay, yes, you guys think I'm crazy, but anyways, I stepped on a
I
manta
made a
ray.
face, everyone. I made a face at that remark.
I
It's not a
stepped
dog.
on a manta ray and I like cut my foot open, and
Because their skin's very
so
rough.
now every time I think of the grandma, I think of that, but I still love her anyways. It's fine.
Michelle totally stepped on Grandma,
I
and
did.
it was rude.
She just said that when you're in the ocean and you get afraid of the ocean, it knows.
It does. Okay, once again, like
She
I
has
said,
a story about it. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying that I have a very powerful connection with the ocean, and I just love all things ocean. If you've seen my rooms, there's lots of Little Mermaid stuff and ocean things, and you have to
got a lot of
respect.
anchors in my house.
You have to respect nature. That was like the whole point of this movie, right? Like, don't take the heart to Fiji. You have to respect nature, and I didn't respect nature because I was swimming with a bunch of manta rays.
Don't get in the
True.
ocen and be disrespectful.
Don't just be stepping on manta rays,
I didn't mean to step on it, but it was okay.
because they'll step back.
It really, it really hurt, man. I remember like swimming and people thought there was a shark or something. I was like swimming, trying to get back on the boat, and they're like, "What happened?" I was like, "I stepped on a manta ray," and they're like, "You're not supposed to do that." And I was like, "Well, I
Thank you for that.
Hey, you're not supposed to do that. Don't step on those. That's not for your feet.
It was
What-
actually my mother's fault because she was playing a joke on me. She was like, "There's a shark behind you," and I was like, "What?" And I freaked out. And they told us like, "Don't put your feet on the bottom. Like, you have to swim the whole time, or else you could accidentally step on one." Well, she told me there was a shark, and I was booking it, and I stepped on one.
Brenda, I'm calling you out.
She's listening, I'm sure.
Brenda. That's like saying there's a fire when you're in a theater. You don't just like go out in the ocean and say there's a shark.
Brenda, you
But if
can't
you know
play
my
games in the
mom-
ocean.
If you know my mom, that's totally her. Shout out to my mom. I love you, Mom.
I love you too, Brenda, but I'm not going to the ocean with you. We're done.
Yeah. Don't be saying there's no sharks near me. I'll
Anyways,
jump out the
respect
water.
nature. That was the whole point, right?
Yes.
Don't
respect
take the
nature.
heart of Tafiti.
And that's a theme of a lot of Disney movies and stuff,
Yeah.
right?
For sure.
A lot of moral stuff going on.
So, out of 10, Andre, what would you give it?
Ooh, ratings.
Rating
Let's do some
time.
ratings. This one is high up there, especially for how new it is and how much I liked it when it first came out. And upon this is only my second time watching it, but it was just as good as the first time. So I am going to give this movie a solid 9 out of 10. It's
Nice.
It's pretty perfect.
My rating's going to be a little weird. So, music, 10 out of 10 if you take out the Shiny song. And if you just took out Mr. Tamatoa, I would give it a 10 out of 10. But for that reason, I'm going to give it a 9.5. And this is biased because I connect with ocean movies so well, and I just love Moana. And I was like, is Moana the new Ariel for me? Because she could be. So I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. I would give it 10 out of 10 if it wasn't for Tamatoa.
Just so you guys know, if you look at our logo, that was so beautifully drawn by at Storybrush, who
Thank you,
is
Storybrush.
Lauren, and she's amazing.
Amazing.
If you look at our artwork, Michelle is actually wearing Moana's necklace
And holding Flounder.
and holding
Oh,
Flounder. So
got
yes.
some double.
So now you know why.
So now you know why.
And
her
you know
shirt
why
says
Emily's-
life is the bubbles.
Because life is the bubbles, and it has a bottle of champagne on it.
Yes, it does.
It's great. And now you know why Emily's holding a coffee mug.
Oh, I
Because
thought you
she
were-
is the caffeination.
I thought you were going to say, you know why Emily's shiny. Because I am. No.
Anyway, your rating of the movie.
My rating of the movie, I would say that similar to Michelle, I think the music in this movie is out of this world. One of the songs we didn't talk about that was my favorite is when they're on, it's like the flashback to their ancestors who are voyagers.
Yes.
When they're out on the water and you see the old chieftain who's wayfinding. I
He's a
love that
voyager.
song.
Good job, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. And most of the songs actually done in
Polynesian.
In Polynesian.
If that's the actual language, I'm not sure.
I'm not even
I
sure.
believe so. But he did
Don't
have
mess
somebody
that up.
help him with all that.
Absolutely
So shout out to them.
fantastic. That's actually my favorite song in the movie.
It's a great one.
I in no way know everything about Polynesian culture, not even close, but I've been to Hawaii multiple times, and I'm actually getting my master's from a Hawaiian university.
Ooh.
And so, aloha. So a lot of the cultural elements that I've kind of had in my program really resonates well with this movie. And so that in that way, I respect the fact that they were so culturally involved, and that they actually had people go to the islands to, get really good research and
Right. Just so that I say it and don't give Lin-Manuel Miranda all of the credit, the music was also done by Opataya Foai.
So that's who did the
yes,
native
he did.
language.
He did the native language of the songs and all that stuff. So yeah,
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him, and slightly less of a shout out.
Also,
to
fun
Lin-Manuel
fact, I read
Miranda.
also, so Ali'i Carvalho, who plays Moana, is from Hawaii, so she can speak that language, and they're working on recording the movie in the Hawaiian language, and she's going to play Moana. Which
That's
is
really
nice
cool.
because usually when they do it in different languages, they have to find different actors and actresses, but she's going to do it herself. So I thought that was cool.
That's pretty great. So she gets to sing that song again.
Yeah, she gets to sing it again in her native language.
Which is super cool.
With that said, I will give it a 9 out of 10.
And that's Emily singing.
That was
like
Emily
we're
singing like Andre.
in the
there,
solid 9 ranges. What is its rating on Rotten Tomatoes? Since Hocus Pocus was awful.
On Rotten Tomatoes,
30%.
Moana has a 96%.
Oh wow,
Boom.
very
Yaka
accurate,
Laka.
Very, very high for.
very high.
Especially
For a
for
movie.
a Disney movie. I mean, as much as I love Disney movies, and I will always probably give a higher rating than most people, Disney movies sometimes, I'm going to say, don't get the greatest ratings.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they have a lot of inconsistencies, and people will point them out and do not mind pointing them out. But a 96% rating is on another level
Yeah.
for this movie.
And that's how amazing this movie was.
It's very true. It's good stuff, guys. It's good stuff. Okay, so Luis, why don't you give your rating of Moana?
Well, first off, let me go ahead and just say it is by far my most favorite Disney princess movie. And I would definitely give it a rating of a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
There you go. So you got all 9s and one 9.5 for Moana, one of undoubtedly the best movies coming out of Disney recently. All right, you guys, that's been us for the Walt Vault, episode 2. Please give us a review on iTunes. We really appreciate that. This upcoming week, I know that a couple of you tried to give us a review, and it wasn't working quite yet, just because we're so new. I had to go in there and write one myself. So if you want to see that, go ahead to the reviews section of iTunes on the Walt Vault and leave us a 5-star rating, because that really helps us get our podcast out there and get more people listening and all that good stuff. So you can subscribe to us on iTunes. I also set it up so that you can subscribe on Google Play and YouTube and Stitcher. We're everywhere right now. So get out there and get subscribing. Tell your friends. We really appreciate it. You can also follow us on social media to keep up with all of our stuff. We have not announced what our next movie is going to be, so follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of that good stuff to find out what we're going to be. We are at the Walt Vault Pod, at the Walt Vault Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So follow us there. Go to thewaltvaultpod.com to check us all out. Check out our websites. Listen to older episodes and newer episodes when they come out. And that's going to be it for us, you guys. Thank you very much. The vault is now closed.